Hello, welcome to another edition of What the Papers Are Saying with me, Vivian Kai Loco. Good to have you today. We'll essentially look at the big stories for the week as reported by various media outlets. When I come back, I'll take you through the big stories, introduce my guest, and we'll delve into the stories. Do stay with us. So welcome back to What the Papers Are Saying. My name is Vivian Kai Loco. Let me quickly take you through the big stories for the week. We'll start with the launch of the NPP's Manifesto, which happened in Takoradi in the Western region over the weekend. So let's see how that story was captured. We start with the Daily Graphic. They say Bawumia means business, unveils manifesto focusing on jobs and business. The Chronicle reported it this way: Bawumia outdoors manifesto of hope. Daily Guide says Bawumia means business, launches manifesto of bold solutions. The business analyst, NDC to launch 2024 manifesto in Winneba. The Ghanaian Times at NPP manifesto launch: I will cut out waste in government, have no more than 50 ministers, reform GRA to broaden tax base. Vice President speaking. Still on highlights from the manifesto, City Newsroom says, I will have no more than 50 ministers, Bawumia promises. And finally, ChannelOne News, NDC to launch 2024 manifesto at UEW. So those are some of the stories around Dr. Bawumia, what he said in terms of the policies he intends to roll out if he's elected president. Also, this weekend, we have the NDC also launching its manifesto. We'll move away from that. Another story making headlines, still making headlines as of today, has to do with the cocoa industry. So let's see what is happening there, which is making media outlets report on that sector. Daily Graphic: Cocoa Board breaks 32-year loan cycle, buys 2024-2025 season cocoa with own funds. Business and Financial Times: rehabilitated cocoa farms to boost productivity by 200,000 metric tons. City Newsroom: Minority Cocoa Board self-financing decision a face-saving move to mask a crisis. ChannelOne News: Cocoa Board denies reports of $1.5 billion loan rejection by international banks. Now, another story that made headlines was the back and forth between the boss of GBC and the Sports Ministry. Why? Let me tell you. The Chronicle says the $3 million African Games cash controversy, GBC boss fires, minister responds. Will Prof. Al-Hassan hit back again is the question Chronicle is asking. Daily Analyst: $3 million African Games coverage, we only received $105,000, GBC boss clarifies. CityNewsroom.com: we received $105,000 for African Games, not $3 million, GBC director. And finally, with ChannelOne News, African Games, GBC staff were paid 100 Ghana cedis, while foreigners were paid 1,000 Ghana cedis. This is according to Sam George. So those are the big stories for the week. When I come back, I'll introduce my guest and we'll delve into the stories. Stay with us. So you're welcome back to What the Papers Are Saying. My guests for today, Samuel Atamens, are here with us at ChannelOne TV as well as City FM. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
I also have with me Selim Adonu, also here with us at ChannelOne TV and also City FM. Selim, welcome.
Thank you, Vivian.
So we'll start with the NPP, the launch of its manifesto. The vice president, who is the flag bearer as well for the party, is it about 2 hours to, talk about the full things he intends to do when he's elected president. I'll start with you, Selim. I can see you're writing a lot on there. On what stood out for you in that speech and some of the policies that were quite interesting to you. So what were your key highlights from that speech?
Well, I think the event itself was well planned, well organized. I like the fact that the day before they organized a health walk to create awareness, ginger the base, and get the people in the area to know that something is happening. And of course, it also offered another opportunity for them to engage with the people. Politicians around this time, want opportunities to engage and platforms to engage. So I think it was great. Napo leading that work with Kennedy Japan, etc. Rallied, gathered at some point, converged on some point, and then addressed the crowd. I thought that was good. The day itself of the manifesto, I think it was well organized, got a lot of young people to talk, which in my view indicates that the politicians or the governing party knows that there are a lot of young people involved in this and they have to connect, which for me was great. A number of promises were made. These are not entirely new promises. They are things they've said on the campaign platforms many times. Just that this time around, we are seeing all of them put together under one umbrella. Barnett has talked about his tax amnesty, flat tax rates for businesses, and all of that. They were things he said during his speech to, outdoor his vision, at UPSA, and discussions were held around those, etc. What was interesting to me, or stood out for me, one of those, is the fact that he wants to cut down the size of government, and he said, cut the size of government by 3%, 3% of GDP, and that is quite interesting and quite huge. So let's see how he's able to do that. He adds that, I'm sure as part of that, he will want to, or he says he wants to have only 50 ministers. And that's interesting. Let's see how it will play out. It would have been interesting to know which ministries he would want to weed out, which ones he would be want to merge, etc. But also, in mentioning the ministries you want to weed out or cut off, there are people in those roles now. So maybe those people will feel a bit, maybe not embarrassed, but they will feel a bit bad because they feel their ministries are not doing very well or useful. So yes, generally it's been a good one. Youth in ICT, train 1 million youth in ICT, etc. I thought all of those were important. And then the fight against corruption. It's always been on about using digitization to help fight corruption. And so he says he's going to ensure that contract details of public contracts are published online for public scrutiny. That would be interesting because these days a lot of the things we ask for are contracts and agreements. We want to see them and we never get to see them. So if he is saying that he will publish those ones for public scrutiny, that would be great. Not sure exactly when that will be done, but I hope that will be done before the approval is given so that people scrutinize them and raise issues which will be useful. You talked about land digitization. For someone who deals, or who a lawyer who does a lot of land and real estate property, real estate and property matters. Land is a very serious matter in this country. In fact, when you look at the law court complex, there are about 46, 48 courts in that complex. About 11 or 12, about 11 of those courts are solely dedicated to land. Notwithstanding that the other courts also get to do land cases. The other courts get to do land cases. That's just in the law court complex. When you go to Adenta, for example, over 60% of their cases are land cases. Every court you go to, it's like that. It tells you that the land administration of this country is a major problem. Boundaries, double sale of land, etc. So if he's calling for a digitization of that space, it will be interesting, to see how he will do it. And if that will bring sanity to that space and people can buy property and know that they bought property from the right source, nobody will come tomorrow to come and raise other issues. That would be great. And land is so important to the extent that investors, when they are coming to Ghana, need land. There was somebody, maybe a client, an Indian person who took his family's money, came to buy a piece of land at Osu. And for 5 years, he's been in court. The structure he was putting up is not gone anywhere. For 5 years, he's been in court. And the family is on his neck that they've taken the family's money to come and do a business, invest, bring money back home. And it's terrible. And he's so frustrated, he doesn't know what to do. And that's just one example of many of those instances. So if we can work on the land administration regime of our country and ensure that, there's sanity in that space, I'm sure it will go a very, very long way to help. The program, so a lot of the promises were good and things we've heard many times. Okay,
so we'll go into detail some of the promises, but let me take some initial comments on the general planning and some key highlights and takeaways from him, and then we can take one or two of them and scrutinize those policies. So,
Yeah, thank you. I think for me, for the first time in my media life, I have taken my time to read a manifesto.
Oh, hooray!
I mean, I had to go through. I was just curious to I kept copies of the old manifestos.
Okay.
We're talking about it today.
Yeah.
And so I had to read through this, spent, I think 3 days.
3 days.
Trying to read
Wow.
and try and connect the elements of the manifesto. And so I put a few things to share, But all in all, I would say that it was a well thought out manifesto, and you hear people talking about, oh, what new thing is he going to do? And I'm asking, but why should it be? What new are you talking about? He's never been president before, so what? He shouldn't have a manifesto of his own? Yeah. Every political party should come with a promise of policies that they want to embark on to effect the needed change, which is captured in the manifesto. Your intentions, your plans, your wishes, your desires to make sure that things are done for an expected outcome. So, for the two leading parties, I think that we should allow them to tell us what they want to do. Okay, so those who dismiss Dr. Bawumia on the basis that, but he couldn't do it, and I'm asking, the man was not president. On the other end, John Mahama was president. He has done something before. So what should we say about that? Should he come and tell us anything? We should just calm down, allow them to tell the whole nation what they want to do. So for me, at this point, we want to judge them based on the quality of the intentions that they are expressing.
Yes, right.
So we went through, and I'll just quickly go through what I gathered. And for me, 10 areas, digital economy and technology. I think they provided a comprehensive, plan for building a world-class digital economy. Job creation and private sector empowerment, I think it was also well spelled out. Healthcare, the focus on completing the Agenda 111 hospitals, recruiting health professionals, and, only that they did not address how they were going to reverse the exodus of health professionals in the, because it's a major challenge, which was not, maybe I missed it, but I didn't see that. Education, they actually focused on expanding educational opportunities, and then the reference to free tertiary education for PWDs, improving free SHS and TVET programs. Again, I think that the manifesto's focus on health is short of detail on how to improve quality of education, which is what is bedeviling the free access. So I think that's something that they should look at. And I'm talking about quality of education at all levels, not just at the SHS level. They were good on public infrastructure, partnering private sector to develop, maintaining, roads, then they mentioned about something that has been very dear to me, the revival of PWD. That's the Public Works Department. That institution has been bastardized in the last 30 years. The job that the PWD was supposed to do, they pillaged the thing and gave it to party people to do, and they shared the money among them. So in the last 30 years, I'm telling you, so anybody that wants to bring back PWD, I am all for it, Then the tax reforms, the proposed tax reforms, the flat rate tax system, tax amnesties, and, I think they are well-promising solutions. Well-promising solutions. The only thing is that the implementation of these things, I think
they need to be more detailed about it. And also, what they want to do to address the failures of our current tax implementation system, including human resource management and capacity building, the challenges with the merger of customs division and the main GRA, and the head knocking one against another, and then the port issues, you know. So you see, we've gone beyond the what I call surface mining. We've now gone into deep pit mining because we want to know, because that's the those are the critical elements of the promise.
Yes, right.
So I think, and then they touched on environment and sustainability, fairly well done, but you know, I don't hear politicians confront the issue of galamsey.
Maybe because they know they can't.
No. I'm just saying that everybody says that we will do a mining scheme, mining scheme. And I ask myself, but the country has always had a policy on mining. Or Salon, don't we?
Yes.
The country, we've always had it. But now we are confronted with something that is swallowing us up. And we have nicknamed galamsey. It looks like it has come to stay. And we don't need counselors from the church to counsel us on how to manage it. We need to confront it head on. But I don't think that the issue of environment and sustainability has addressed the issue to tackle issues like galamsey. Maybe I missed it. But it makes the point about forest protection, reforestation, and then they use a generic caption of sustainable small-scale mining. You understand? I don't even think that galamsey qualifies to be small-scale mining in the proper sense of the word. Okay, the challenge is more to within the space of environmental degradation, the degradation of our alluvial bodies, okay, water bodies being sacrificed, and increasing the risk for water security, and all these things. So we would have loved to, hear a bit more of that. Then the cost of living, the critical care areas like housing and healthcare, again, we were a bit generic, because they talked about promoting electric vehicles, stabilizing fuel prices through the Gold for Oil program, which I believe are wonderful ideas. But I think that it's a bit too middle class targeted. Can we dig down?
Push it down to the
because I didn't hear, and again maybe I missed it because I had to read this in how we are going to expand the LEAP programs like the LEAP, and how we are going to deal with the family systems, how to get through the micro and small scale spaces of businesses and things like that. So I think the issue of cost of living fairly well attended to. I wasn't too, excited about the theme on sports, creative arts, and tourism.
Okay.
That they can do a whole lot more, because I didn't really get, you talk about boosting sports infrastructure, and I asked myself, but we did sports infrastructure and left it to waste. We talked about creative arts and tourism, sports development fund, esports policy. So, I think they are a bit generic again. But for a manifesto in the year 2024, we need to move the next step of using countable elements, details, so we can do a proper comparison.
Okay, I have to take a quick break, and then we'll look at some other issues around the manifesto launch. We'll be right back. Welcome back to What the Papers Are Saying. My name is Vivian Kailoko. I'm here with Samuel Tamensa as well as Salom. I don't know. Salom, so Samuel is there. If you follow him, you see the way he's read the thing into detail. He's given us about 10 pointers for his highlights and explained, you know, some that he felt that they should have gone deeper and dealt with the issues, so we are clear on exactly how they intend to implement it and all that. Same for you?
Yeah, so Samuel has read everything back to back. Just a few points to add to that. I noticed that, I mean, about 2 banks to be set up, the Minerals Development Bank and the SME Bank. It's been something that the people in the sector have been calling for, which tells you that they went around, really engaged the people and came up with that. Of course, I will not be surprised if the same thing is mirrored in the NDC one as well, because I was speaking to the Guta president earlier in the week in an offline conversation, and I wanted to pick his thoughts on the manifesto. So he said, well, they were happy with the SME bank and the flat rate and all of that. I said, yes, that they came here and we told them that, and the other side also came, we told them that. So you could see that they are speaking to the people, and so they are hoping to implement or to do for the people what they want, which is fine, but must be put into a proper perspective. You know, I've been one person who has been quite concerned about our sports developments. I meant touch on that briefly. Sports development. And I'm not a big fan of going to recruit Ghanaians from outside to come and play Black Stars or other our national teams. They are Ghanaians, which is great. But I'm of the view that they only play for Ghana because they don't have the opportunity to play for the countries where they lived and grew. So when we were younger, I mean, in secondary school, etc., we saw this Milo competition where people, it was nice. Schools all over the place with selected players would camp at a place, and they did competitions, and schools won. From those Milo competitions, we got national team players. You know, it developed the sports. We don't see those anymore. And so now the way of recruiting players, you don't really see it. Yeah. Everything is become they've left everything to maybe the GFA, who are commercially minded people, so who will pick their people, put them in the national team, quote unquote, force a coach to play their players so they can get more money, etc. That development of sports I'm not seeing. So Dr. Bernard is telling us that his government will establish a Ghana School Sports Secretariat. I hope if he's given the opportunity, he takes it seriously. The UK and other places, they've used football or sports in general to deal with matters of unemployment and youth hooliganism. Why are we not able to do a thing like that? When you look at even how the football, the Premiership, the Championship, to the lower tiers, you see the number of people engaged in that space. They've been taken out of the street, and they are doing what they like, and they get money from it. We can also do the same. It could be if we harness it properly, it could be a way of taking a lot of the young people from the streets, you know, harnessing their energies properly and getting them to do something meaningful for themselves and then for the country. You know, talking about refining gold before export, that's great. I don't know the timelines. Recently, a gold refinery plant was commissioned. You know, I hope it works well. I hope it doesn't become another Commander. I hope it works well and it does what it has to do. But refining gold before you export, super. It's been what we've been calling for. If they're able to do it and do it well, it will be great. And the fact that small-scale miners, I mean the gold small-scale miners produce or mine, will be sold to the Bank of Ghana, the MIIF, and then the PMMC. That would be great. Bamia himself some time ago said that he was at a program in Dubai or so, and for him, the data he had on how much gold Ghana exported, you know, was on his sheet. But when the guys were speaking about the amount of gold that came from Ghana, he was surprised because it was almost double what he had on his sheet. If we're able to do it well and police the process well, the system well, Bank of Ghana will get a lot of gold. We will get a lot of money for our gold's worth, etc. You know, one thing I realized, which also is come up in the discussion, is what appears to me as a deliberate attempt not to mention Mahama. In the last, I think in the last manifesto launch, the criticism was that it was all about Mahama. Mahama was sitting somewhere and his name was all over the place. This time around, I thought it was a deliberate attempt
To not
to mention Mahama, but to focus on their message, which I think they executed quite well. I don't know whether NDC will want to do that because they are in opposition. They will be attacking, and so maybe they will have to be mentioning names. But I think it was a great one. I mean, Nanado's pitch, the last minute pitch, that, I mean, his closing pitch, I thought it was interesting. He did it well. But when I was watching, the question I was asking was, you know, is it a message or the messenger, the credibility question? So this is a person, generally, I mean, Afrobarometer, July 2024, says that 87% or 9 out of 10 Ghanaians think that he's leading the country in the wrong direction. So my question is, how do you deploy him in the election? Do you use him as everything is fine, or you want to be careful how you deploy him? Because if the data says 9 out of 10 people think he's leading the country in the wrong direction, will you want to put this man in the center, not center as Bawumia himself, but how will you deploy him? Yeah. So when he was making the pitch, that was what was going through my mind. That
but
you
can
yourself,
you avoid him, knowing that you're coming from that stock? And
no,
because if you do that, you are then claiming or accepting that there's a problem there, which is not good for your campaign as well.
No, but you must accept there's a problem. I mean, there's difficulty. A lot of the things were promised, we've not seen it that way. There's difficulty. I mean, there's difficulty. Like Kennedy Japan said, we must admit there's difficulty and tell the people that, you know, yeah, we've seen it, we hope to build upon it, or we hope to do better given the next, or given another opportunity. I don't know how they'll deploy him. I'm waiting to see how they'll deploy him. They must have a strategy to deploying him. In the 2008 election in the US, Bush was not very popular. Mm-hmm. And so McCain found a way of going around him. He didn't win the election, but his influence in the campaign was very minimal. Of course, that's American politics. Ours is very different. And so I hope they use him in areas he remains very popular. You know, because the data says 9 out of 10 people think he's leading the country in the wrong direction. So if you have led the country in the wrong direction and you are now coming to tell me to vote for this person, are you leading me again in another wrong direction? You know, I don't know. It was just playing in my mind when I saw. But I think all in all, it was a good one.
I'll get your reaction to the final speech.
It was a good one. And I think they want to do, so another point that caught my attention was CCTV cameras. Is it 50,000 CCTV cameras or so? Or, yeah, so they said the national security people said they needed to ensure that every part of the country was covered. It looked like a fantastic idea, a great idea. But when the following day, when I was driving from work, passing through Legon, I mean, the Legon Adenta Road, no street lights. The week before, I was traveling from home in the night. I got on the motorway, it was terrible. So the question is, street lights you cannot give, or we can't seem to get it right. They fix it 2 weeks max, the street lights are off. I don't know how it happens. And now we're going to talk about, what's the name? CCTV cameras. Of course, they may do two different things, but the underlying factor is that the two of them have a role they play in ensuring security. We don't have street lights, which is very easy to do. Now we're going to do CCTV cameras, 50,000 of them. It sounds fantastic. But when you drill down, I kind of wonder why we want to do that when the very basic ones have not been done. And there are CCTV cameras at almost every junction in Accra. How well have you utilized that in curbing crime? Of course, 1 or 2 crimes have been spotted and arrested with those. But have we maximized the use of those? I'm asking the CCTV cameras are not important. No, they are important. But in order of priority, I think ensuring that our street lights work is more. Maybe you didn't mention it because you know there's a project ongoing now where they are distributing street lights to assemblies. The one the regional minister is doing. The one 2 days ago, the Accra mayor also said. No, but you see, it may not be the first time we are distributing street lights. Of course, in residential areas, assemblies and people distribute street lights. But the question is, why don't the street lights work? And distributing street lights to who? The highways. It's not street lights you distribute to associations that will be fixed on the highways. I think Ghana Highway and Ministry of Energy should take care of that. On the motorway, it's not street lights you distribute to me or MMDs. To somebody. The MMDs. So, but I think that for the roads, there is what the MMDs will do and what central government itself through the highways and through the ministry itself will do. Temamoto, I'm not sure it is.
No, but every road
Passes through.
Falls
passes
under
through-
somebody, yeah.
Yes,
Passes through.
yeah. But the point I'm making is, the street lights almost always do not work.
Yeah.
How do we fix that?
Yeah.
How do we fix that? The new UG Stadium, when they finished and they left, I mean, they finished the game, they left. In the night, the place, you could see well lit.
Well, it's
but now the lights are going down.
The
Maybe another 3 months.
real owners have
Maybe
come
another
there.
3 months, you see that the place will be
The
up now
real
because the
owners.
lights are there. But the way they were bright from the beginning, I mean, that has dimmed.
I think they
So,
did.
you know, I think we can do the basic things first. And the electric vehicles, fantastic idea. It is the way to go. But that will reduce transport fares 30 to 40%. 100, and we understand 100 of them are coming into the system now.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how they did the maths or the calculation to say that that is going to lead to about 30 to 40% reduction. We saw about 300 or 350 or more buses from Ayalolo brought into the system. I don't know how much that worked to reduce transport fares. It's a good idea to start with. I think we support it for the sake of the climate change or the environment and all of that. But I think that we should tone down on the promise of it reducing transport fares that
I
dramatically.
mean, if I'm told that, is it 1.8 liter, you know, it will cost you like 120 cities to charge it for the whole day. So that's very cheap.
No, but I'm saying that how many are we
So
bring?
if-
How many
if-
will we have to because I mean, how many will we have? Do we bring in 100? Even if you have
To
1,000,
start with.
even if you have 1,000, you know, how many of them?
100 what?
100
100
buses, 100
electric.
electric buses, electric vehicle buses. So I don't know how they call them.
Before
Before the end
just
of the
to
year.
introduce the
Yeah, but I'm saying
whole
that
system.
Yes, but to say 30 to 40% reduction in transport fares.
with 100 buses.
No, they didn't say. So I'm just saying that we should tone down on how we promise that it will reduce the
Because-
fares,
because
because it may
if-
come back to bite us.
If you are using the electric car, a bus driver, or you're operating the bus system, the amount of fuel you buy with the normal diesel or petrol, the electric vehicle will be much, much cheaper. So you have to reduce
But
your fares.
have we thought about other things beyond fuel? I mean,
The spare
maintenance
parts and
all of that.
maintenance.
Have we
But
factored all of
usually
that
the
into it?
drivers complain that they are increasing it because petrol prices have gone up.
No, but
Before they come to spare
Yeah, but
parts,
they come
which
to spare
they
parts.
blame on the bad roads.
I wish it works, but I'm saying that it's a good thing.
Okay.
It may reduce fuel transport fares.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that let's not say
Give a
30
figure to it.
because it will come back to bite us because it may not work that way.
Okay.
And people will say you deceived us. That's just my caution.
Okay. So, Mr. Want to add anything?
Well, you know, it's something that escaped me. What the industry-specific banks,
The
that-
mining bank and the SME. bank.
SME banks, and then what's the second one?
Mining bank.
Mining
Yeah,
bank.
mining development bank.
You know, I think we should move away from that.
Why?
It doesn't work. It does not work.
But the people want it.
No, the people want the facility. Do we have a bank called a Greek Development Bank?
Yeah, we do.
So it solved our Greek problems? It doesn't work. You see, the banking industry in Ghana is one of the very few industries that run inversely proportional to the direction of the economy. Even when the economy is going
The whole
down,
mass, we must take time to crack.
even when the economy is going down, the
Yeah,
banking
profits
profits
are
are going
going
up.
up.
True?
Yeah, true.
You understand? What that means is that there's a certain capacity within the existing banking system that we have not explored enough. Some banks should be carefully plotted out and incentivized to take care of the needs of some of these
sectors.
specific sectors. Because if a bank is making profit 300 million, 500 million in 1 year, that should tell you that there's something there. Okay? Didn't we have bank for housing and construction?
Yeah.
So it solved all our construction problems. You know, didn't we have Women's World Banking in Ghana? We had Women's World Banking.
Yeah.
Where is it today?
The one of the banks that
Okay.
they shut
Now
down.
the bigger question is that are these banks going to be owned by government and run by government again? Okay, so I think we should do a bit more thorough thinking in this issue of we are going to do your own bank for you I mean, who is going to own that bank? Where are you going to get the funding from? Have we resolved the issue of loan defaults? Salom, you go to the courts. How many times don't you see the default? And the default rate keep going up, which is why banks are reluctant in giving. So if you go promising industries that we are going to do an industry-specific bank without taking care of the things or the elements that are plaguing the already existing banks, you are promising more trouble than solutions.
Yeah.
How about Ghana GCB Bank, a huge bank? It is already in every geographical area in this country. How are you going to solve the issue of SMEs by establishing something called SME banks when indeed you are not physically present in Tumu, you are not physically present in Wa, you are not physically present in Pusiga, but GCB Bank is there. So why aren't we drawing GCB Bank, drawing ADB, and trying to fashion out components of these banks that can address the... For me, that's the way to go. But this is going to set up. Over the last 2 years, didn't we set up a bank called Development Bank? So it solved our development problems. So let's move away from that and get into the real issues.
Right. So with that, we'll move on from the manifesto and go to the cocoa industry. Daily Graphic, Cocoa Board breaks 32-year loan cycle, buys 2024-25 season cocoa with its own funds. And then City Newsroom, Minority, Cocoa Board self-financing decision, a face-saving move to mask crisis.
Well, I mean, Cocoa Board has issues, no doubt, and the issues must be fixed. So Cocoa Board over the years has been undertaking this syndicated loan, which has become a major foreign exchange avenue for government to help stabilize our cedi and all of that. Of course, Cocoa Board says that it is winning itself off that. I don't know what. It's too dramatic for me. Okay.
What is it?
I mean, all of a sudden, you are winning yourself.
They've been planning it for years.
Well, maybe they didn't have to tell us. Maybe they should have told us, or maybe we should have seen. We should have seen the progress or the signs. So we wake up one morning, at least in my view, in my case, then Cocoa Board all of a sudden is saying that it's winning itself of the 32-year dependence on syndicated loan, etc. It's a good thing, but I wish I knew what steps is being put in place really, because over the last few years, it does appear that Cocoa Board has not been doing well. So if you've not been doing well in the last few years, how come you are all of a sudden winning yourself from something you've been doing for over 32 years, including times that you were doing very well? I mean, I need more answers or further and better particulars on that. But the minority on the other side thinks that it's a face-saving measure, that they've been thrown out by the banks, or they've been refused, a loan and all of that by the bank, so they have no option than to now look inward. I don't know where the truth is. I don't know where the truth really lies. I think in the next few days we will see where the truth really is. But
not to just to chip in quickly on the issue of the losses. They released a statement today looking at all that. They say that what the minorities say, that they made a loss of 4.2 billion Ghana cedis in 2023 is false. They say that their 2023 accounts, which was audited by Ernst & Young, show a profit of 2.3 billion for 2022-2023.
Well, so I think the minority said in all 11 billion losses were made. So clearly they have some answers to that. Let's look at the issues a bit more dispassionately, devoid of the usual politics, and see where we are taking Cocoa Board. I mean, very important institution, where we are taking it. I've not been very impressed about how they deal with things. I mean, fertilizers here and there, people send proposals, a lot of that every time. I don't think, and the real issues they must be dealing with should, among other things, include the cocoa farms. We are losing the cocoa farms to Galamsey, and we are losing the cocoa farms to the very old people. They get old, and there's no incentive for young people to go into cocoa farming, etc. I think Cocoa Board should be focusing on those as well. They may say they're doing it, but we need to see more effort in that regard. If they win themselves, that's great. I mean, but it came quite dramatic, in a very dramatic fashion to me, you know.
So you don't believe them?
No, I will await further and better particulars.
Saleko.
No, it was dramatic. I will await further and better
The
particulars.
essence of your statement, the takeaway is you don't believe them. Samuel, do you believe them?
You mean whether I believe that they want to win themselves
Or they have won
Yes,
themselves.
and because they're
but
ready to
they've
do
made
that.
a public statement, you know. So it's just what it is. They have made a public statement that they want to now look inside the country and look for money to do the
$1.5
thing.
billion.
I'm sure they know where they are going to get this from, you know. And you know, for me, as you already know, the issue of cocoa. I'm very, 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 very passionate about the issue of cocoa. You understand? And the only reason I'm not in cocoa is that my father told me that of all the businesses that you want to do in this world, don't touch cocoa.
Why?
Because his
was
life,
in cocoa,
he
right?
was in cocoa. My grandfather, paternal grandfather, for all his life was in cocoa. First I said, no, don't go there because that place is hot. Don't go there. So, but I can talk about this thing, you know. And I think again, we've been looking at the figures, and I can understand why the Cocoa Board will look at internal, you know, sourcing of funds. You know, if the cost of securing the funds internally is better and the conditions are better, then it's a wise decision. Okay. Secondly, it strengthens some, if you like, local companies that are going to facilitate these loans. Now, they didn't say that they are going to use their own pocket money. They only said that we are not going outside to look for the money. So technically, not much has changed. Okay. You know, I did a quick scan to look at what has happened in the last 10 years, 2014 up until now. And check this out. So 2014, we did cocoa export, approximately 896,000 metric tons. And for that, syndicated loan was $1.7 billion. 2015, it dropped to 740,000 metric tons. And again, that was the onset of the changing weather patterns and then the swollen shoot thing that popped up again. So, frankly, between 2018 up until 2024, we have lost almost 600,000 hectares of cocoa farms. And this is the portion that is attributed to swollen shoots. Okay, we have not determined the portion that has been lost due to galamsey. So if you add that, that should explain to you how come we are seeing dwindling, you know, numbers in our cocoa fortunes. So if we really, I mean, I could go on and on, maybe that will be taking too much time, but if we really want to do something about it, I think we should identify the underlying factors. You know, the cocoa thing, the cocoa output was not handed to us by our forefathers, that every year when you wake up, you will be gifted with 1.5 million metric tons of cocoa. It's not that. It is that you have the potential to do. It's like a blank check because you have the soil, you have the environment, you have the weather. You know, unfortunately, we haven't had the favorable weather for cocoa growing in the last 5 to 6 years. That is a matter of fact. Swollen shoot has come in, galamsey has come in. Now, if we don't address these things, there's no way we can wake up and then suddenly see our cocoa output, you know, go back to the over 1 million metric tons. We can't do that. You understand? So I am still trying to figure out what specific measures we are putting down. One, to increase our output for cocoa. And there's no way we can increase the output if we don't resolve the weather issue, the rainfall pattern and all these things. If we don't resolve the diseased cocoa, if we don't resolve the issue of galamsey, and if we don't resolve the human resource challenges that the cocoa industry is facing. For most part of the places that I grew up in the cocoa area, and I do visit there from time to time, and I'm telling you, Vivian, that you will not find the average 16 to 25-year-old person engaged in cocoa farming. That's too difficult for them. That is too difficult for them. They've all moved into galamsey.
How do we get them back?
You see, so that for me, that's a clear and present danger. That the human resource base for cocoa, which offers us the potential to increase our yields, is being taken over by galamsey. And we are using English language to make the thing look nice. We are coming to do cooperative mining. We are coming to do this. The people, they don't hear the English. They are turning riverbeds inside out. I'm telling you, you were with me when we went there. Salom, I was with Vivian. Look, the whole river, the whole river, the route, or the river, they have chucked the thing and rerouted the river. Okay, and dug down to bring the galamsey, the gold out, and that's not the worst you've heard. The fetish, the shrine there, no, they have taken the shrine,
thrown the shrine away,
and went to put him somewhere else, and told him that wait till we finish this, he will come and bring you
the
back.
shrine was sitting on gold.
You are sitting on gold.
Otisikaso.
The shrine at Tisikaso, Omo was so shrine. They took him out, went to put him somewhere, and dug their gold.
and left him there.
I left him there. This is, I was with Vivian. I'm telling you.
Very true story.
So what I'm saying is that the young people who are into this galamsey, they can't hear the big English. Okay. Now the curious bit is they have come to a certain reality that this galamsey, as bad as it may sound, is solving our basic problems as communities. There was a chief, remember, who told us that as for him, he agrees with this whole galamsey. A chief, he sat us down. He did a picture. You understand? So I'm just saying that if we want to confront it, we have to do a head-on. I'm not saying that it has to be confrontational, military. That's military thing. But now we should know it won't work. But we need to be more committed, because it's now biting us more than we can ever imagine. Cocoa is giving way to galamsey. I'm telling you. Go and see the Brim. The whole stretch of the Brim River, all the way to Odan, all the way is brown. If you do Milo, Choco Milo, or you know, and then you compare the thing, it's the same thing. You understand?
Maybe that one is darker.
And they are digging. I'm telling you, they are every day they are digging. Did you see the Konongo one? You know Konongo?
Yeah, Konongo, yeah.
It's in Ghana, you know that.
Konongo, I know Konongo.
They are digging very soon. One day you see that, you hear that they have taken over the main Kumasi Accra highway, because that's where they are heading. When you're on the Kumasi Accra, you know now Konongo, there's some heavy traffic there when you are going to Kumasi. And you have to, at times we pass inside the Konongo inside out to the Odumase side. So what I'm saying is that we can't pretend that it will solve itself. The galamsey itself is affecting water security. It's bringing diseases. You heard them. Even nurses who are supposed to be offering the service of health delivery, they themselves are victims of the diseases. Apo ejare omo nkosankosa krodoso amferewase jeba ebitiye.
What are you saying?
I'm not speaking in tongues. I'm telling you things that are happening. These are diseases. Yes. Okay. Yes, ebitiye.
That's the name of the disease.
Oju no order. They drink the water and they are exposed to all these things. You understand? And we are sitting down speaking big English. We need to confront these things. Because apart from water security, now the mainstay of our economy, which is cocoa, is now being affected. So there's a lot of work to be done. We can't just be battling, hey, you're lying. There are fundamental issues that we need to address. Go to next door Cote d'Ivoire. They are also having the same macro issues that we are having. But where they have found solutions to will be at the micro level. They still have rivers. They actually have gold, but they have not polluted their rivers. So somebody must wake up and hold the bull by the horn.
We'll see whether they can do that, but our time is up. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I think I took the all the time.
No, I mean, it makes sense.
It has to be echoed. It's very important, and a serious matter. Thank you so very much, Samuel Atamens, and thank you so very much, Seloma Danu, both of Channel One TV and City FM. My name is Vivian Kai Loco. Thank you too for joining us. We hope we'll see you again next time. Goodbye.